Hey, if you're still working on your 2019 Tacoma and figuring out how to install your Tekonsha P3 brake controller, I think I've got a better solution. After watching a lot of stuff on YouTube, I wasn't really happy with any of it, so this seems to be pretty good. And this is where it's going to go. It's going to be centered up to this console. The bracket fits perfectly underneath. Normally the bracket, before we cut it and trimmed it, would be hanging 1/8 of an inch below the unit. It looked terrible. So fixing the bracket up actually, I think, solves this ugly look that most people are dealing with when they try to put them in all these different places. Here's the bracket in the vise. I've already started cutting it and then decided to make this video and share it. So I cut this piece off. There's the whole bracket, cut it off on both sides. And now what we're about to do is round this corner right here. So now with our angle grinder, we have rounded that corner. Those little scrapes are from the hex lock washer. Then paint up your bracket, and that's that. All right, let's talk through what we're gonna do here. This wiring harness coming off the back is just brutal. I mean, it's huge. It is funky looking, so we gotta clean that up instead of just running it tight against the plastic there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take apart this connector. We're gonna deconstruct it, pull all the wires out individually, and that's gonna be really easy. I'll show you how to do it. And then we're gonna pop a hole through here and feed the wires through. Then we're gonna reconstruct the connector, and then we're gonna put this right back in place, and the wires are gonna actually be popped right through the dash there instead of feeding along the outside. All right, stand by. So let's remove this connector and then remove the green piece. Expecting, but I think it'll be worth it. I'm going to remove all the wires from this connector, and what you need is a super tiny flathead and a big flathead. Forget about that Phillips. And this is what you have to do. The super tiny flathead goes in right here. Until you see that flathead. Let's use this one. So you see that flathead come through that slot, so it's the same size as the slot. So here's the one I was using, too small. This one's a little bit bigger. Okay. Then what you do is take the big screwdriver in this spot right here and just wedge out the green sleeve. That green sleeve will continue to come out. Now take your micro screwdriver, turn your connector up, and it pokes in right here, and then it defeats the tab that is holding that wire in, and then you pull that out. Now remember what order your wires are in color. And then when you're ready to put your wires back in, just flip that upside down, pull that tab out just a little bit with your tiny screwdriver. That way when you pop it back in there, it'll stick in place again. And then you'll just slide the green shim is basically all it is. It's a shim holding the wires together. So I'm gonna pull all these wires out. Here's the wire harness deconstructed. And what I decided to do was paint the wires and see how that turns out. When I poke them through the dash, they'll be less conspicuous. We'll see how this looks. So pull off this running plate, and then pull off this kick plate, and then this is your connector. All right, let's take a close look at what we have here. So we have the unit installed. And let's take a look at the wiring harness poking through our slit. There we go. All right, let's just hook up our ground now and put our kick plates back on. And that's it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I think this is a keeper.